Hello, dear friends, and welcome. Tonight, we are journeying back to the late 18th century to spend a quiet evening with a Parisian lace maker as a gentle storm rumbles beyond her window and candlelight flickers across the pages of old books. So settle in, pull your blankets close, and let us begin. Imagine, if you will, a slender attic room nestled atop a winding street in Paris, its beams worn smooth by the centuries. Rain patters softly on the angled slate roof, each drop a silken note in tea. Clest's hands, slender and deft, gather a basket of bobbins and fine flax threads. The wicker creaks softly under their weight, the fibers cool and smooth to the touch. She settles by her lace pillow, a sturdy bolster covered in faded damask, its surface prickled with bright steel pins and the faint outlines of patterns waiting to be born. The air within the room is fragrant with a blend of beeswax, lavender, and the faintest whisper of old parchment. Candle flames dance, mirrored in the tiny whin. The table before Clest is scattered with treasures, ivory bobbins etched with careful initials, spools of thread in shades of cream and palest blue, and a tiny pewter thimble that fits snugly against her finger. A porcelain teacup, rimmed with gold and painted with violets, rests beside a small plate, crumbs of honeycake left from earlier in the evening. The scent of the tea, infused with chamomile and mint from the herb garden below, weaves through the air, mingling with the sweetness of rain-sow. Clest's lace pillow, round and softly padded, is patterned with tiny pinpricks marking designs passed down from her mother and grandmother. She inserts a fresh piece of parchment, the ink lines faint but sure, guiding her through loops and twists yet to come. The bobbins clatter softly as she arranges them, their wooden bodies gleaming with the polish of years. Each one has a story, a ribbon knotted in remembrance of a sister's laughter, a bead threaded by a childhood friend. Her apron, thick linen. The rain grows steadier, a silvery cascade against the roof, its music slow and soothing. Clest's fingers work with practiced grace, lifting and crossing the bobbins, coaxing the gossamer threads into intricate patterns. Every movement is purposeful, a ballet of touch and trust. The lace begins to emerge, delicate scallops, tiny blossoms, a spray of leaves, each detail reflecting the garden she tends in the warmer months. She thinks of those days, sunlight tangled in her hair, hands dusted with soil. A gentle breeze sneaks through the window's worn frame, carrying the freshness of wet cobblestones and distant orange blossoms from the courtyard below. It stirs the flame of the thick beeswax candle, sending shadows skittering across the spines of well-loved books. Some are volumes of poetry, their pages pressed with violets and sprigs of thyme, while others hold patterns and letters from friends in Lyon and Bruges. Clest draws her shawl closer, its woolly warmth comforting against the storm sea. As she works, Clest's thoughts drift to the market mornings, when she and her friends gather beneath striped awnings to share news and laughter. She remembers the scent of fresh bread, the rough weave of baskets laden with apples and plums, the cheerful calls of flower sellers. Those days are bright in her memory, but tonight is for stillness, for the intimate hush of her chamber. She lifts her gaze to the window, where droplets chase each other down the glass, and imagines the city beyond Chim. Clest pauses to stretch her fingers, rolling her wrists in gentle circles. The lace grows beneath her hands, fine as a spider's web, its pattern unfolding with patient grace. She takes a moment to run her hand across her apron, feeling the familiar weave, the softness earned by years of careful tending. The air in the room grows richer as the storm builds outside, thunder a distant rumble, wind curling round the eaves. She smiles, remembering her mother's voice reading her stories on nights like. A small fire crackles in the hearth, its embers glowing beneath a pot of simmering broth. The scent of leeks and thyme mingles with the sweetness of baking apples, tucked beneath the grate to roast in their skins. Clest rises to stir the pot, relishing the warmth on her face and the gentle hiss of steam. She ladles a spoonful into a chip bowl, savoring the flavor, earthy, simple, nourishing. She settles beside the fire, tucking her bare feet beneath her skirt, and stirs honey into her tea. In this softened moment, Clest's eyelids grow heavy. The fire's warmth, the rhythmic rain, the gentle pattern of her craft all conspire to lull her into peaceful contemplation. She sips the last of her tea, the herbs calming her mind, and leans back, watching the candle's flame flicker against the ceiling beams. The storm outside has settled into a steady murmur, its presence now a distant, reassuring embrace. She listens to her own breathing, the rise and fall slow and sure. The lace on her pillow. The attic room is a patchwork of textures and hues, the soft blue of Clest's woolen shawl, the creamy folds of her apron, the sun-faded red of her cushion on the window seat. Each item bears the marks of use and care: frayed hems, a careful repair in neat, tiny stitches. On the windowsill, a pot of rosemary leans toward the glass, its scent spicy and green. The lace-maker's gaze lingers on a small painting propped against a stack of books, a field of poppies, painted by her friend Jean one spring. Returning to her pillow, Clest settles once more into the rhythm of her work. She turns a bobbin between her fingers, marveling at how the grain of the wood glows in the candlelight. The pattern she follows traces the outline of a garland, each loop and twist a memory of gardens in bloom. She recalls the first time she learned to make lace, her grandmother's patient instruction, the gentle correction of a wandering thread. Now, years later, the act is as natural as breathing. Her hands remember W. A book lies open on the table, its pages edged with gilt, the words in elegant, looping script. It is a collection of poems, beloved and oft read, their verses about the pleasures of ordinary days: market squares, walled gardens, the laughter of friends. Clest traces a finger down the page, the paper cool and faintly rough beneath her touch. She reads aloud, voice barely above a whisper, the words mingling with the soft song of the rain. In this room, the boundary between past and present blurs. On a nearby shelf, a row of glass jars holds treasures from the season's lavender from the garden, dried rose petals from last summer's blooms, a handful of acorns gathered on an autumn walk. Each jar is tied with a ribbon or a scrap of lace, their contents a memory preserved. Clest lifts the jar of lavender, rolling it gently in her palms. The scent is deep and calming, evoking warm afternoons and the gentle drone of bees. She sprinkles a few blossoms onto the lace pillow, their fragrance mingling. A gentle knock upon the door startles Clest from her reverie. It is only her young neighbor, Marie, seeking shelter from the storm. The girl's cheeks are rosy, her hair damp with rain, her hands clutching a small bundle of mending. Clest welcomes her in, pressing a warm cup of tea into her hands, the porcelain fragrant with anise and honey. They settle together by the fire, their conversation soft and unhurried, Marie's voice shy at first, then blooming into laughter as they share stories of chill. As the evening deepens, Clest and Marie sit close, their work illuminated by the mellow glow of the candle. Marie's hands, though smaller and less sure, mirror Clest's movements, the thread sliding through linen with a soft, satisfying pull. They talk of gardens and recipes, of the first snow that will soon dust the city streets. Marie confides her hopes of becoming a skilled seamstress, her admiration for the artistry of lace. Clest smiles, remembering her own dreams at that age, how each knew par. Marie, growing drowsy from warmth and comfort, curls beside the fire, her head resting on a cushion embroidered with violets. Clest tucks a soft blanket around her, smoothing the girl's damp hair with a motherly hand. The room is quiet now, the only sounds the ticking clock and the gentle crackle of embers. Clest returns to her lace, her movement slower, a smile lingering on her lips. She reflects on the kindness that threads through her days: the neighbor who brings fresh eggs, the herbalist W. Finished with her section of lace for the moment, Clest carefully pins her work in place. She studies the delicate pattern, satisfied with its progress. Her eyes travel to the shelves above, where baskets hold ribbons, spools of silk thread, and scraps of lace from years past. She chooses a length of pale blue ribbon, running it between her fingers, marveling at its sheen in the candlelight. The ribbon reminds her of morning skies and spring rain, of the bluebells that bloom in hidden corners. In the golden hush of the attic, Clest takes up one of her old books, its leather cover cracked but sturdy. She leafs through pages filled with pressed flowers, recipes for herbal remedies, and careful sketches of lace borders. The book has been her companion through many seasons, its margins filled with notes in her mother's looping hand, reminders of stitches to try or dyes to brew. She pauses at a page listing ingredients for a calming tea: mint, chamomile, a touch of honey. The memory of her M. The hour grows late, and the storm outside has softened to a steady, soothing drizzle. Clest's world is wrapped in a cocoon of candlelight and quietly drifting thoughts. She glances at the sleeping form of Marie and smiles softly. The rain drums a gentle cadence on the slate tiles, as if lulling the city itself into slumber. The lace on her pillow gleams with promise, the evening's labor woven into its intricate loops evidence of patience, hope, and steady devotion. Clest sips from her cool tea. Clest gently lifts a quilted coverlet from the trunk at the foot of her bed. Its surface is stitched in a patchwork of faded florals, each square a memory: scraps from childhood dresses, remnants of her mother's apron, a splash of blue from her father's old waistcoat. She drapes it over Marie, tucking the corners in with care. The fabric is heavy, fragrant with lavender, the stitches neat and close. Clest brushes her fingers over the patterns, feeling the softness and the love that went into each. By the flickering light, Clest tidies her work table, stacking bobbins and spools, gathering stray threads into a small linen pouch. She wipes the polished surface with a cloth scented with rosemary oil, the wood glowing warmly beneath her hand. On a tray, she places a jar of thick apricot preserve, a wedge of fresh bread, and a small dish of salted butter, simple comforts for the morning. She moves with quiet purpose, every action deliberate, her motion slowed by the hour and the gentle hush of. Clest glances toward the window, where the rain has gathered in rivulets, tracing delicate patterns down the wavy glass. Beyond, the street is awash in puddles, the lamplight shimmering gold on wet stone. She imagines the gentle parade of umbrellas and cloaks earlier in the evening, friends and neighbors scurrying to their own warm hearths. Now, the street is empty, the city wrapped in peaceful sleep. She draws the curtains linen, hand-stitched with rows of tiny daisies, shutting out the last of. The shelves in Clest's room hold a small menagerie of keepsakes, a painted wooden egg from Easter, a pinecone gilded with gold leaf, a spool of silver thread gifted by a traveling merchant. She straightens these treasures, dusting them with a soft, embroidered cloth. Each object calls forth a Memoria festival in the square, the taste of sugar-dusted pastries, the laughter of friends beneath lantern-strung trees. Beneath the shelf, a small basket holds her embroidery, a project for quieter days. Clest's embroidery thread glides through the linen, each stitch forming a tiny petal or leaf. The rhythm is meditative, the gentle pull of thread, the quiet pop as the needle slips through fabric, the soft wheeze of her breath. She thinks of the gardens that inspired this piece, the scent of violets after rain, the cool feel of moss-covered stones, the hum of bees in the thyme. Each stitch is a small act of hope, a promise of spring's return. She works slowly, savoring the weight of the hoop, A sudden gust of wind rattles the window, sending the candle's flame dancing. Shadows leap across the walls, playful and fleeting. Clest draws her shawl closer, its woolen fold snug against her shoulders. The storm's presence is a reminder of the world's wildness, but here, she is untouched, her home a sanctuary of warmth and peace. She glances at the sleeping Marie, the girl's breathing soft and even, her hand curled around the blue ribbon. Clest smiles, recalling the nights of her own childhood. The candle's light pools across the floor, illuminating a stack of folded linens near the fireplace. Clest rises to smooth their edges, delighting in the crisp, cool touch of cotton and the faint scent of lye soap and sun. She thinks of the hours spent in the courtyard below, washing and laying cloths to dry on the lines, their whiteness gleaming against the sky. Folding linen is a practice of care, each corner matched, each crease pressed firm by hand. She remembers her grandmother's stories, told. Finished with her chores, Clest pours herself a fresh cup of herbal tea, mixing dried rose petals and mint with a spoonful of honey. She watches as the steam curls upward, wreathed in the candle's golden glow. The taste is delicate and soothing, floral, sweet, and faintly green. She sets the cup on a small wooden tray beside a bowl of sugared almonds, a treat for later. She settles into her favorite chair, its seat worn smooth by years of use, and draws a knitted blanket over her lap. The blanket. The attic's walls are lined with shelves crowded by old volumes, books of recipes, poetry, and tales of faraway lands. Clest selects a small, leather-bound journal, its cover embossed with trailing vines. Inside, the pages are filled with her own careful script, observations of daily life, notes about lace patterns, sketches of flowers, pressed leaves, and fragments of dreams. She rereads an entry from a month past, describing an autumn morning in the city, the scent of roasting chestnuts, the laugh. In the quiet, Clest leans back, listening to the shifting timbre of the storm. Rain trickles off the roof in silver rivulets, the wind now hushed and respectful, as though the city itself is preparing for sleep. The candle's flame burns low, its golden light pooling atop the pages of her journal. Clest places a pressed violet between the leaves, a token of spring kept safe through winter's darkness. She closes the book, tying it with a length of cream-colored lace, and places it gently atop the. A soft purring comes from the foot of the bed, where the household cat, Meal, has found a cozy nest among folded quilts. Her fur is the color of fresh cream, her eyes bright as candle flame. Meal stretches, kneading the quilt with tiny paws, then curls into a tight ball, her breathing even and slow. Clest smiles at the simple comfort of her companion, recalling the day Meal wandered in from the alley, a shivering bundle of fur and hope. Now, she is part of the household, her presence another L. The wind shifts, and the scent of damp earth rises through the cracks in the old floorboards, mingling with the herbal notes of the tea and the sweet, waxy perfume of the candle. Clest breathes deeply, filling her lungs with the freshness of the rain-washed night. She thinks of the garden below, bare now, save for hardy rosemary and a few pale cyclamen bravely blooming by the wall. In her mind, she walks through summer's memories, the hum of bees, the softness of moss, the brilliant flutter of bud. Clest glances to where she keeps her basket of mending, a quiet testament to the rhythms of domestic life. Within the basket, linen napkins await repair, a stocking needs darning, and a faded handkerchief is ready for a fresh border of lace. She selects the handkerchief, its cotton soft with age, the initials of her grandmother still visible in blue thread. With delicate care, she pins a length of lace along the edge, her needle moving in slow, looping stitches. Each pass through the fabric is the sound of the rain has softened, now just a gentle murmur against the window pane. Clest finishes the border on the handkerchief, tying off the thread with a neat, invisible knot. She folds the handkerchief, smoothing its edges, and places it in a small wooden box lined with rose-scented paper. The box holds other treasures: a silver brooch from her mother, a lock of hair tied with green silk, a dried sprig of lily of the valley from last May. Each keepsake is a token of affection, a memory mad. Clest moves to the window, drawing back the curtain just enough to peer into the rain-drenched night. The rooftops glisten, pools of lamplight reflected in puddles on the crooked street below. She watches as a lone figure hurries past, cloak drawn tight, umbrella bobbing in the gloom, a reminder of the city's quiet pulse, alive even in storm. She lets the curtain fall, sealing out the night, and returns to her chair by the hearth. The embers glow softly, casting a gentle warmth that seeps into her. Reaching for her book of patterns, Clest turns the pages, each one filled with intricate design scurlicues of thread, knots and picots, scalloped borders fit for wedding veils and christening bonnets. She runs her finger along a favorite design, remembering the hours spent perfecting it under her mother's watchful gaze. The page is flecked with tiny ink stains, evidence of learning and persistence. She traces the lines, imagining the finished lace, pale and delicate as morning mist. The act of C. Clest glances at the small clock on her mantel, its face painted with tiny violets, its hands moving in slow, reassuring circles. The candle's flame makes the gilt numbers glimmer, and the tick of its movement is a gentle heartbeat in the quiet. She stands to stretch, feeling the pull of tired muscles, and moves to the corner where an old spinning wheel sits idle. Its wood gleams with oil and age, the wheel silent but promising. She runs her hand over its smooth surface, recalling the winter eve. Returning to her lace pillow, Clest smooths the parchment pattern and adjusts the bobbins. The threads are fine as breath, their pale sheen almost invisible in the candlelight. She sets to work, her fingers weaving the warp and weft with unconscious grace. Each movement is small, deliberate, the sound of wood on wood a quiet rhythm. She reflects on how, through centuries, women have shaped beauty from the humblest materials: threads, cloth, a scrap of ribbon. There is a dignity in such work, a chew. The fire in the hearth has burned low, its glow reflected in the copper kettle set atop the coals. Clest pours herself another cup of tea, this time adding a slice of dried quince, its fragrance sweet and mellow. She cradles the cup in both hands, savoring the warmth, the smooth curve of porcelain. The steam rises in delicate tendrils, catching the candlelight and painting shifting patterns on the ceiling. She takes a slow sip, letting the flavors seep into her senses: the tang of fruit, the sue. As midnight approaches, the world outside seems to hold its breath. The rain slackens, falling now in soft, infrequent drops, each one a silvery bead on the window pane. The city sounds are distant: the faint clop of a carriage on cobbles, the bark of a far-off dog, the rustle of leaves in the wind. In the attic, all is tranquil. Clest tidies away her lace, wrapping it in a square of muslin and placing it in her work basket. She lights another candle, its flame joining the first, doubling the gold. Clest brushes her hair, the boar-bristled brush smooth and comforting against her scalp. She sits by the mirror, its silvered glass clouded with age, and watches the candlelight dance in her reflection. Her hair falls in soft waves, the color of chestnuts in autumn, threaded with a few silver strands. She plats it carefully, her fingers nimble from years of practice, each movement unhurried and sure. The sensation is soothing, the gentle tug and slide of hair between her fingers a silent luller. She moves to her small writing desk, the surface polished smooth by years of use. An inkwell and quill await, the nib gleaming in the candlelight. Clest selects a sheet of fine paper, its surface creamy and thick, and begins to write a letter to her cousin Marguerite. Her words are gentle, describing the storm, the comfort of lace-making, the shared tea with Marie, and the quiet joys of the evening. She pauses often, choosing her phrases with care, her handwriting looping elegantly across the P. Clest stands at her small window once more, parting the curtains to gaze at the silent city. The rooftops glisten, rain-damp and silver, while the sky is a deep indigo, clouds still drifting in slow, majestic columns. The air is cool, and she draws a shawl around her shoulders, breathing in the mingled scents of rain, wax, and distant flowers. Far below, in a neighbor's window, a single lamp still burns, its golden light a quiet beacon of company. Clest waves gently, knowing her friend across. The candlelight glows steadily, illuminating the carved wooden headboard of Klest's bed. The sheets are linen, cool and smooth, embroidered with a border of tiny blue forget-me-nots. She turns back the covers, revealing a feather pillow plumped high, its case edged in lace she made herself. The bed is a nest of softness, fragrant with lavender sachets tucked beneath the sheets. Klest changes into her nightdress, the fabric worn thin and comforting, the hem edged with more of her handiwork. As she settles into bed, Klest listens to the final whispers of rain tapping on the window. The candlelight flickers gently on the ceiling, tracing shifting patterns that soothe her tired eyes. She smooths the sheets, her hand trailing across the cool linen, and draws the quilt up to her chin. Meal the cat leaps lightly onto the foot of the bed, circling once before curling into a warm, purring spiral. The presence of her small companion is the final touch of comfort, a living weight grounding. A lull settles over the room, deep and profound. The candle burns low, its light golden and steady, casting a gentle glow across the patchwork quilt and the softly rising form of Marie, still dozing by the hearth. The fire has faded to a bed of embers, their warmth lingering in the air. Klest listens to the soft sighs of her companions, the cat, the girl, her own slow breathing, all in harmony with the gentle drumming of rain on the roof. The stillness is profound, a cushion of quiet that embraces. As her thoughts begin to drift, Klest recalls a favorite lullaby, sung to her by her mother on stormy nights such as this. The melody, gentle and slow, weaves through her memory, each note a soft caress. She hums quietly, the sound sweet and low, and feels the peace of childhood settle over her heart. The candle flickers, casting a golden halo around her pillow, its light a guardian through the night. She thinks of the generations of women who have sung these same songs, their voices joining H. The last of the tea cools on the bedside table, the porcelain cup rimmed with a faint ring of honey and herbs. Klest reaches for it, sipping the last drops, the taste bright and soothing. She sets the cup aside, her hands lingering on the smooth, cool porcelain. The act of letting go is gentle, a ritual of closure for the day. She closes her eyes, letting her senses drift, listening to the subtle crackle of embers, the distant toll of a bell, the soft tick of the clock. Each sound is a thread in. Outside, the storm is spent, the rain now a faint whisper. The city sleeps, its streets empty, save for the occasional glimmer of lamplight reflected in the wet stones. In the attic, the air is still, the candles flame unwavering. Klest lies quietly, her senses attuned to the smallest details, the smoothness of the pillow beneath her cheek, the gentle weight of the quilt, the faint, sweet scent of lavender. She hears the cat's purr, the slow breath of Marie beside the fire, the quiet pulse of her. Midnight has come and gone, marked only by the slow, chiming bell from the distant church tower. The attic glows with a deep, golden light, the remnants of the fire painting gentle shadows on the walls. Klest is nearly asleep, her mind tracing the contours of her day, the slip of thread through her fingers, the warmth of a friend's laughter, the quiet pride of work well done. She feels the slow turn of seasons, the shifting pulse of the city outside, and the unbroken continuity of women's hands cree. As the candle dwindles, Klest's dreams take gentle shape. She sees herself walking through a sunlit garden, the path dappled with light, the air alive with the scent of violets and rosemary. Her hands trail through the leaves, gathering herbs for the drying rack, her apron pockets filled with wildflowers. She pauses by a stone bench, sitting in the warmth, her mind at ease. In this dream, there is no hurry, no burden, only the slow unfolding of the day, each moment a soft embrace. The cat is there. Far below, the city's cobbled streets are silent, damp and shining in the aftermath of rain. The scent of earth and stone drifts up through the window, mingling with the fading fragrance of beeswax and lavender. Within the attic, all is hushed. The candle's flame wavers, its light soft and golden, casting a gentle shimmer on the spines of old books and the folded linen stacked neatly by the fire. Klest's head rests lightly on her pillow, her hair braided and smooth. The room is a cocoon, safe fro. In the gentle stillness, time itself seems to slow. The attic is suspended, a world of its own, floating above a sleeping city. The candle burns lower still, its light a soft halo against the whitewashed beams. Klest's dreams are full of soft textures and warm colors: linen aprons, baskets of fresh bread, the dappled light of early morning. She dreams of laughter shared over tea, the scent of apple blossoms, the feeling of belonging in a circle of friends. Each detail is a comfort, woven from Mem. The candle flame dips and sways, shadows drifting across the floorboards. Klest stirs, half dreaming, her thoughts a gentle tide of images, lacework glimmering in sunlight, the cool splash of water from the courtyard well, the slow turning of pages in a beloved book. She feels the weight of the quilt, smooth beneath her hand, hears the silent laughter of friends long gone. The world narrows to the glowing circle of her bed, the hush of the attic, the comfort of familiar things. Her heart is lig. As the candle gutters, Klest's dreams become quieter still. She finds herself in the garden at dawn, dew sparkling on every leaf, the sky a pale wash of blue and rose. She walks the path slowly, the air cool and fresh, her bare feet brushing the earth. Every flower catches the light, every leaf is edged with gold. She gathers sprigs of thyme and rosemary, her basket swinging at her side, the peace of the morning settling deep within her. In this dream, she is never alone, her mother at her elbow. The attic is nearly dark, the candles flame a pale memory. Klest breathes in the lingering scents: honey, tea, the faintest wisp of wood smoke. The embers in the hearth glow a deep, silent red. Marie has shifted in her sleep, sighing contentedly, the quilt rising and falling with each slow breath. The cat's purr is a gentle vibration, a soothing presence at the foot of the bed. The old books rest quietly on their shelves, their secrets safe for another night. Each object in the room is a part of TH. The storm is only a memory, washed away by the night's gentle rain. In the attic, the silence is absolute, broken only by the faint tick of the mantel clock. The candle's flame finally flickers out, leaving the room in a silvered hush. Klest shifts beneath the quilt, her limbs heavy, her body surrendered to rest. She dreams of lace patterns unfolding beneath her fingers, of the soft rustle of linen, of the promise of spring's return. Each dream is a blessing, a quiet benediction. The night is still. In the darkness, Klest feels the warmth of the bed, the softness of the pillow beneath her cheek, the distant comfort of the quilt's weight. The hush of night is complete, a velvet shroud wrapping every corner. She dreams without words, only sensations remain, the feel of wool against her skin, the weight of a teacup in her hands, the taste of honey on her tongue. Outside, the city is adrift, its rooftops shining in the gentle glow of a waning moon. Within the attic, all that matters is rest, Outside, a faint mist rises from the rain-washed streets, softening the outlines of chimneys and courtyards. The air is cool and sweet, drifting through the tiny cracks around the attic window, mingling with the last traces of warmth from the fire. Klest dreams on, her sleep deep and sure. In her vision, she is sitting beneath a lilac tree, surrounded by friends, their laughter echoing softly. They share bread and fruit, embroider handkerchiefs, and tell stories as clouds drift lazily overhead. As the small hours pass, the attic remains a sanctuary. The darkness is soft, the air tinged with the lingering aroma of lavender and beeswax. Klest's dreams are gentle, a procession of kind faces and quiet joys. She wanders through a memory of childhood, her mother's lap, the sound of rain on the roof, the hush of voices reading poetry by candlelight. Each image is a comfort, woven from the threads of love and care. The cat shifts beside her, a living warmth, while Marie sighs in the gentle embrace. A faint light begins to gather at the edge of the window, the first sign of dawn still hours away. The darkness is deep, but not foreboding, rather, it is the soft, welcoming dark that enfolds and protects. Cleste lies still, her dreams slow and luminous, lace fluttering in summer wind, a table set for tea, the echo of a friend's laughter beneath chestnut trees. In the hush, the house itself seems to breathe, its old timbers settling, its warmth undiminished. There is no fear here, no hurry, only the gentle rhythm of sleep enfolds every soul in the attic. Cleste dreams of a day to come, sun streaming through the window, the scent of fresh bread baking, the laughter of friends filling the kitchen. She envisions herself at the lace pillow, her hands moving with joyful precision, the thread singing beneath her touch. Marie sits nearby, her needle flashing as she embroiders a spray of violets onto a new handkerchief. Meal the cat dozes in a sunbeam, her fur aglow with gold. The scene is peace. Outside, the world is waiting, silent and softened by mist. The rooftops gleam with remembered rain, the streets empty and quiet. Within the attic, Cleste's breathing is deep and regular, her dreams unfolding in gentle waves. She imagines herself walking the city's morning streets, her basket filled with lace and fresh bread, her steps light with purpose. The market square is quiet at first, the air sweet with the promise of a new day. Friends greet her with smiles, their voices low and warm. The hours slip by quietly, each one a pearl on a string of night. The attic is wrapped in darkness, but it is a darkness full of peace, woven with the memory of candlelight and the echo of laughter. Cleste's dreams are slow and bright, filled with gentle hands and quiet voices. She dreams of lace patterns blooming beneath her needle, of gardens waking in the first light, of a letter arriving from her cousin, its words warm and familiar. The comfort of tradition, the solidity of home, the certain. The faintest blush of dawn touches the sky, unseen but promised. In the attic, the silence is deep and kind, every shadow familiar and gentle. Cleste lies nestled in her bed, the quilt pulled close, her breath slow and even. Her dreams are a quiet tapestry, threads of gold and blue, the scent of rosemary, the taste of honeyed tea. She dreams of a morning yet to come, when the storm has passed and the world is fresh and shining. She rises from bed, her feet warm in woolen stockings, the floor cool. The darkness before dawn is complete, enfolding the attic in its silent embrace. The room is a sanctuary, sheets cool and soft, the quilts wait an anchor, the air fragrant with fading lavender. Cleste's dreams are gentle, she walks the city gardens at first light, dew shining on every petal, the world silent except for the slow, sweet song of a waking bird. She pauses to pick a bloom, tucking it into her apron pocket, feeling the day's promise settle over her shoulders. In the dream, she is content. Meal, the cat, shifts in her sleep, stretching her paws before curling tighter into the quilt's folds. Marie stirs by the hearth, a soft sigh escaping her lips, her dreams peaceful and sweet. Cleste sleeps on, her face serene in the half-light, a faint smile curving her lips. The scent of beeswax and herbs lingers in the air, a memory of the evening's quiet joys. The world outside is silent, the city hushed beneath its blanket of mist and cloud. Within the attic, time moves slowly, each heartbeat. The attic is a cradle, rocking softly on the tides of sleep. Cleste dreams of laughter at the market, the rough texture of linen between her fingers, the sound of rain pattering on stone. She dreams of the taste of fresh bread and the sharp sweetness of apricot preserves, of the slow, gentle rhythm of craft and conversation. The world beyond the window is distant, its cares held at bay by warmth and love. The minutes pass in silence, the only sound the faint, regular breathing of those within. In the last hours of night, the house itself seems to sleep. The beams settle with a faint sigh, the floorboards creak softly as the air cools. The scent of lavender is faint now, replaced by the neutral, comforting smell of linen and wood. Clest is deep in dream. She walks the lanes of her childhood, picking wildflowers, listening to the distant song of a lark. The world is bright and gentle, every sound softened by memory. The lace pillow sits quietly on the table, waiting for her hands to rest. The rhythm of night is steady, unhurried. Clest's dreams drift like leaves on a slow-moving stream, images of lace and gardens, friendships and feasts, the gentle unfolding of daily life. She sees herself at her work table, the bobbins clicking softly, the candles like golden on her hands. She feels the presence of those she loves, the kindness of neighbors, the laughter of friends around a table set for tea. Each detail is tender, suffused with warmth and gentle pride. The world outside grows lee. At the edge of waking, Clest stirs, the first light of dawn brushing the edges of her dreams. The attic remains dark and quiet, but the promise of morning is near. Her breathing is slow, her body heavy with rest. She dreams of gentle tasks, folding linen, stirring porridge, opening the window to let in the fresh air of a new day. The cat stretches, the quilt rustling softly. Marie sighs, her face peaceful in sleep. The world is patient, holding its breath for the coming dawn. In these final moments, dawn edges closer, the darkness yielding to a faint, silver glow. The attic is utterly still, the hush deep and complete. Clest's thoughts are slow and repetitive, circling around the ordinary beauties of her life, the glide of needle through cloth, the taste of tea, the comfort of shared laughter. The city outside waits in silence, held in the gentle promise of another day. Within, Clest is safe, her sleep unbroken, her dreams soft and luminous. The lace pillow waits, the books rest quietly, tea. The first true glow of morning creeps across the city, turning the rooftops to silver and pearl. Within the attic, all is unchanged. Clest sleeps, her breathing deep and even, Marie curled beside the hearth, the cat nestled into the folds of the quilt. The old books sit quietly on their shelves, the lace pillow untouched. The world is still, the promise of light gentle and slow. Sleep holds them all, the silence unbroken, the peace profound. The storm is only a memory, its wildness replaced by ca. In these final moments before dawn, the attic is a world unto itself, a haven suspended in time. The candle has burned out, the hearth is cold, but warmth lingers in every fold of linen, every memory held close. Clest sleeps, her dreams circling gently, the sound of rain on the roof, the taste of honey, the comfort of quiet company. Marie stirs, shifting beneath her quilt, her face peaceful and untroubled. The cat purrs, a small, steady vibration in the stillness. The city outside is hinting at hell. The light grows imperceptibly brighter, the darkness thinning by degrees. The attic is safe, enclosed by the memory of warmth, the reassurance of loving care. Clest's dreams are repetitive now. She turns the pages of her books, smooths her apron, sips tea, and feels the softness of linen beneath her hand. Each action is slow, deliberate, comforting. Marie breathes quietly, the cat shifts and sighs, the city holds its peace. The storm is long past, the air is fresh, the promise of morning hovers due. The first birds begin to stir outside, their songs soft and tentative, harmonizing with the silence in the attic. Clest dreams of finishing her lace, of sharing breakfast with Marie, of reading aloud from her favorite book as the sun climbs higher. The room is awash in a soft, pearly light, every edge blurred by the lingering touch of night. The old clock ticks slowly, the minutes stretching and elongating in the hush. Sleep remains deep, but the world is turning, the promise of a new day slow. The city is waking, but within the attic, sleep persists, soft and unbroken. Klest's dreams are simple, repetitive, circling around the gentle rituals of her days, brewing tea, folding linen, exchanging letters with friends, tending to the small, enduring joys of home. Marie dreams too, her mind filled with needle and thread, the shape of violets and lace. The cat sighs, stretches, and curls tighter into the quilt. The air is cool, the silence deep, the peace complete. The storm has faded, it's M. The minutes unfold like petals, soft and unhurried, each one cradling the sleepers in its gentle embrace. The light at the window is faint but growing, tinting the room with the palest gold. Klest's dreams repeat the feel of thread, the taste of honey, the sound of rain, the sight of candlelight flickering on old books. Marie, still asleep, smiles faintly, lost in her own quiet visions. The cat's purr is a steady lull, the only sound in the hush. The world outside is patient, waiting with gentle ease. With dawn now near, the attic's silence grows even deeper, the peace more profound. Dreams are slow and rhythmic, circling gently through the same familiar images, lace glimmering in sunlight, bread broken among friends, the safe embrace of candlelight. Klest's breathing is slow and regular, her body perfectly at ease. Marie stirs, but does not wake, the cat nestles closer, the warmth between them an anchor. The city's noises are still distant, softened by mist and memory. The world is quiet, the light in the attic grows ever so slightly, the air tinged with the faintest blush of morning. Sleep is deep, but the dreams are gentler, more diffuse. Klest's mind circles slowly, lace, tea, the softness of linen, the hush of rain, the laughter of friends. Every image is slow, familiar, repeated in a gentle cycle. Marie's breath is soft, her face serene, the cat purrs on. The city waits in silence, the world quiet and undemanding. The repetition of comfort, warmth, softness, gentle touch lulls The world within the attic is timeless, each moment expanding and repeating. Klest dreams of her hands weaving lace, of sunlight on old books, of a table set for tea. The details are soft and slow, the weight of the quilt, the smoothness of linen, the hush of rain remembered. Marie and the cat lie still, the peace between them complete. The light at the window is pale, the air cool and sweet, the silence unbroken. The repetition of dreams, lace, tea, candlelight guides Klest ever deeper into rest. Sleep is absolute, the rhythm of dreams slow and repetitive. Klest drifts through the same gentle images, lace growing beneath her hands, the flicker of candlelight, the taste of honeyed tea, the soft sigh of the cat. Marie sleeps on, her dreams filled with violets and the sound of rain. The attic is silent, the air cool, the world outside softening into the pale light of dawn. Each detail is a comfort, the weight of the quilt, the scent of linen, the memory of laughter. The storm is gone, the sea. The house remains at rest, every sound subdued, every detail softened by the hush of morning. Klest's dreams circle gently, repeating the same soft images, lace, books, tea, candlelight. Marie sighs in her sleep, the cat purrs, the world outside silent. The light at the window is faint, the air cool and fresh. The repetition of comfort, warmth, softness, the memory of gentle tasks invites a deeper rest. The minutes pass slowly, each one a lull, each breath a gentle reassurance. The storm is forgot. In the final moments before waking, the attic is silent and utterly calm. Dreams repeat, the quiet click of bobbins, the taste of tea, the warmth of linen, the flicker of candlelight on old books. Klest lies still, her body heavy, her mind adrift in gentle images. Marie breathes softly, the cat curls close, the city is silent. The air is cool, the light faint, the peace profound. The repetition of comfort, softness, warmth, safety eases every care. The attic is a sanctuary, the world outside distant. The world stirs, but within the attic, sleep is deep and unhurried. Dreams are gentle, slow, repetitive lace, tea, candlelight, the sound of rain. Each image soothes the mind, each breath is a step farther into rest. Marie shifts beneath her quilt, the cat purrs on, Clest lies still, her heart at peace. The light at the window grows, but the room is unchanged, every detail comfortingly familiar, every moment a soft echo. The repetition of gentle images bread, honey, laughter guides every soul deeper. The final minutes before dawn are the slowest, each one a gentle, repetitive lull. The silence in the attic is total, the air cool and clean, the promise of light a distant glow. Clest's dreams are soft and cyclical, lacework glimmering, tea poured in golden cups, the hush of rain, the warmth of wool and linen, the flicker of candlelight. Marie lies still, the cat is a small, warm weight at the foot of the bed. The world outside is waiting, but within, all is ease. The repetition of comfort soften. With the first light of dawn pressing gently at the attic window, dreams slow to a stop. The repetition of gentle images lace, tea, books, candlelight carries Clest and her companions deeper into the softest sleep. The cat purrs, Marie breathes quietly, the world outside begins to stir, but the attic is unchanged. The air is cool, the sheets soft, the peace unbroken. Each moment is a lullaby, each breath a gentle invitation to rest. The city waits patiently, the promise of morning gentle and slow. Dawn's light grows stronger, but within the attic, sleep persists. The minutes repeat, soft sheets, gentle dreams, the memory of lace, the taste of tea, the hush of rain, the flicker of candlelight. Clest lies still, her breathing deep and even, Marie is peaceful, the cat curls close. The world outside is awakening, but within, all remains calm. The repetition of gentle images warmth, softness, kindness guides every heart into deeper rest. The storm is gone, but its memory is a blessing, a lull. The light at the window is pale gold, the first true promise of morning. But in the attic, all is still, the repetition of dreams, the softness of sleep, the slow, gentle rhythm of heart and breath. Clest lies at peace, Marie stirs but does not wake, the cat purrs on. The lace pillow, the old books, the empty teacups rest quietly, each a testament to the night's gentle joys. The repetition of comfort warmth, softness, the hush of candlelight soothes every spirit. The attic is unchanged, a sanctuary. All is still. The attic is wrapped in the slowest, deepest peace. The repetition of gentle images soft linen, the memory of lace, the hush of rain, the flicker of candlelight guides every soul into perfect rest. Clest lies motionless, her dreams a soft echo, Marie is quiet, the cat curled close. The world outside is awakening, but within, all is sleep, all is comfort. The promise of a new day is gentle and slow, the peace of the night unbroken. Each minute is a soft caress, each breath a lullaby.